Series is 2-2, but here's the thing. I mean, they got Verlander and Keuchel have got to pitch again, so
yeah.
And then I'm on my way home from tennis, and I'm hearing this on the radio, like, Yu Darvish has walked in. I'm screaming, in the car, and I call Graf, and he's like, I'm not taking a call from a Cubs fan during the game. I was like, you're a dumbass.
He should be happy.
I know. He's coming on. Jim.
$1 billion.
So
Netflix hopes to ramp up
Will's
its
at
original content
10:30,
to 30%
Graf
of their offerings
10:45, and
after
Aaron
rival
Nagler at
Hulu
11.
announced they would stream movies and TV
I've got-
shows
yeah,
from
I've
their
got, like,
parent
short
companies
interviews with
like Disney,
Okafor
21st
and
Century
Teo
Fox, Comcast, and Time Warner. The $7 to $8
Yeah,
billion
like the
investment
column I
into
wrote.
original programming means by the end of next year, Netflix
Yeah, it's like
hopes to
just me
have
and them.
80
It's like-
original
they're
movies
like,
released.
one might be a minute and a half,
annually.
one might be 2.
Senators are getting increasingly concerned about data security at credit bureaus.
As a recent breach demonstrates, enhanced cybersecurity measures at companies
gotta be
like
sitting at work,
Equifax might work perfectly,
me hear my
yet still
boys
do
and-
little to protect consumers' data.
Crush
That's
Larry.
Ohio Democrat Sherrod
No,
Brown in a
this is great,
hearing.
yeah.
He said companies like Equifax collect vast troves of personal information. Equifax recently
Shortly.
acknowledged that the personal information of roughly 145 million people may have been compromised in a massive
I'm already done this, and I'm
cybersecurity
going to go
breach.
get coffee.
Idaho Republican
What's up?
Mike Crapo said credit bureaus must take steps to bolster security
I don't know,
of personal
man. Well,
data
of course,
and
I always get up
minimize
early, but-
risk to consumers. And
Well,
Apple
it's
is
like,
taking
no,
a serious
tennis,
look
and
at
we
getting
drink
into
after,
healthcare,
like, we
according
drank
to
beers in the
CNBC.
court, and I went
The tech
home and
company
drank
came very
my
close to
sorrows
combining
away watching the
medical
stupid
clinic
Cubs.
startup Crossover Health. Crossover highlights its digital features such as mobile apps that allow people to make same-day appointments. Tech industry analysts say it could be a logical move for the company.
Well,
as
yeah, I
Apple
know.
Watch has features that allow doctors
Now I'm
to
spoiled.
monitor a patient's
Gotta win every
health.
year.
gotta win.
Consumer and Business News,
Yep.
Ted Asregatta.
World
NBC
Series of
News
Bust,
Radio.
at least get there.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even
I
makes
gotta look
her
at like
tiny
3 houses
roommates
today
weird
after this,
beanie
Oh,
pig.
wow, okay.
I had to get kind
Allison, wait, are you
Spiffy.
Somewhat look-
texting and driving?
So Will is good to go?
Allison, no,
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
exact opposite of what I was just
You know what? I
saying
didn't
about
send
you.
Dave the number of
Why,
those.
Allison? Why?
Oh, we will.
Texting and driving.
I got it right
makes
here.
good
Okay.
people look bad.
258.
Visit StopTextStopRex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Each morning before you
Send this number to him, too.
dream of breakfast like mom used to make.
Aaron Nagler.
And potatoes too.
Go ahead and give it to me.
All right, 347-268-6304.
Okay. What time's he?
Top of 11. So we got 10:30, 45, and 11.
Crispy bacon, seasoned potatoes,
10:45 's Graf.
in a fried egg
Yeah.
shell. Only at
And then,
at participating stores for a limited time.
then I got, yeah, you good. And then I got Neil McCready tomorrow, too.
Oh, I didn't get the list from you.
I'm sending it.
Yeah,
I'll
Jeff sent
email it to you right now.
Yep.
Freaking slackers, man.
Sorry.
I'm not turning your mics on now.
If you see this giant Red Bull I got, you'll know why.
What? I turned your mics off. I didn't hear you. Here you go.
Dunc and Holder on a Wednesday, October 18th. Lots to talk about. Can we just refrain from talking about a certain team on the north side of Chicago?
No, I don't think we can refrain.
Yes, we can. We absolutely can. Now, our guest at 10:45 is probably not going to refrain, a Gigantor Dodgers fan. Get out of here with this. Start spreading the news. Get out of here. Hey, the Yankees are 2-2 with the Astros, but yeah, the old Cubbies are going down in flames. And, hey, we could start a new streak. No big deal.
Maybe they're just setting it up for like a miraculous comeback.
If you watch their relief pitching, there's nothing miraculous about it.
It's not going to happen.
Total disaster. But, hey, at least they got there. Sort of. So,
Well, look, the NBA got off to a rousing start yesterday. Big doubleheader. Little surprise, and then a tragic injury kind of right off the bat to Gordon Hayward. So we will talk today about the Pelicans' season debut tonight, right? We're going to try and get Will Guillory on the phone.
absolutely. Pelicans tip off tonight. Season opener, 7 o'clock tip. And you can listen to that on our sister station, 99.5 FM WRNO. And you can listen to every Pelicans game on with Sean Kelly and John DeShazer and Victor Howell. So all the games, you can listen to it right there. And, of course, they're going to take on the Memphis Grizzlies at Memphis. And, Jeff, you're talking about last night, the Warriors lost, and that's probably not a good sign for the Pelicans home opener when they have to play the Warriors. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I didn't think about that.
That's probably not the best thing you could possibly do.
They're probably not going to go 0-2.
No, probably not. But look, yeah, we're gonna effort Will Guillory, who is en route to Memphis to cover tonight's season opener for the Pelicans. Of course, Will Guillory, our Pelicans beat writer for NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. So we will effort him as he is gallivanting across town to the airport with luggage and all. So we will try to catch up with Will Guillory. Then 10:45, I alluded to Dodgers fan, and you know what? I'm gonna drop some voodoo on Graff when he comes on the show. Todd Graffinini, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. I'm gonna drop some voodoo on him and see if the Dodgers can just tragically plummet and go down. Up 3-love. Tennis terms, 3-love, and look, it's not over till it's over. Hey, so Cubs came back from 3-1 last year, they can come back from 3-love this year.
You know how those things are. Like, if you win one game, you get momentum, and sometimes, I mean, I've seen it happen. As a Giants fan, they were down to the Cardinals 3-0 and won a few, and then once the momentum starts going, you start believing, and then the other team gets tight. It's like a NCAA tournament basketball game.
Todd's really going to dislike coming on. Giants guy, Cubs guy, and he's a Dodgers guy. So we're all baseball guys, but 3 different perspectives. But we're certainly going to talk about Tulane, South Florida. Of course, the 16th ranked South Florida. They're coming to Yulman Stadium on Saturday night. And you can, of course, listen to that game right here on the flagship station for Tulane football, Sports 1280 AM. And, Jeff, I know we've talked about how the loss to FIU kind of puts a halt on the positive momentum. But look, it wasn't a conference game. South Florida is certainly a conference game in the American. Now they've got the American going the rest of the way through for their schedule. But if they can I'm not going to say if they can put up a good game and lose. No, if they can put up a W, if they can win this game, it would be a gigantic momentum changer for the Tulane Green Wave.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Things change quickly, as we know on this show. I mean, we've seen it ebb and flow this season with LSU and the Saints. And look, that was a disappointing loss to Florida International. I'm sure everyone involved with the football program was keenly disappointed because of all the build-up to what they've got going on this week. And but things can change quickly. South Florida is a legitimate big-time team coming in here, probably one of the highest-ranked teams it's ever played at Yulman Stadium, and they've got a lot of special festivities going on campus. So you're trying to generate as much enthusiasm. That was a little bit of a damper last week, but I agree with you. If they can win this game somehow, I don't know if they can win it, but you get some breaks, get control of the game early with that running game, and things can happen.
And I know we're going to have Tulane Athletic Director Troy Dannon on the show tomorrow to discuss Yulman Fest. So it's basically they're throwing their own festival. And, of course, there are so many festivals in Louisiana. Why not throw one at Tulane for this big game? I mean, it's a perfect setting and should be perfect weather, honestly. So it should be great.
That's a great point. And, yesterday they were delivering the Angry Wave statue across town to have it erected on the scoreboard. And as I went for my nightly workout, I looked up and I thought, what is that? And they'd already had it up on the scoreboard. So we'll talk to Dannon about that.
It's staring down upon you.
Yes,
exactly.
It actually looks really cool up there. I don't know. I guess they could never quite get at one time, we'll have to ask Dannon about it, but at one time they wanted to put in some like crazy water spout thing that would shoot off onto the student section in front of them and make it this kind of novelty event, but I guess they couldn't get that pulled off in the short period of time or something.
Short period of time? Get it done! That sounds like the greatest thing ever!
Yeah, like all the student sections right in front of it, so it'd be cool if you were on a hot day.
Well, because it's hot as holy hell, I'm sure, like, when they open the season in August in the middle of the day.
Yeah, they wanted this wave effect, like, oh, they're getting splashed by the wave, the angry wave. I thought it was kind of funny.
I need you to go out there with a super soaker, just in a Tulane cheerleading uniform, Jeff Duncan with a super soaker, and just start splashing the fans.
How about Graf doing that between
He's got to call the game.
Between calls, he could have a remote mic with him or something.
He could just press a button from his booth and start squirting people, yeah. But so we'll have the Graf on and at 10:45. Then top of the 11 o'clock hour, we will have Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com. It's the site that houses the Green Bay Press-Gazette and the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And so Aaron's been covering the Packers for a long time. We'll have him on the show to talk about Saints-Packers. And Jeff, some interesting news today from the NFL front.
Which one?
You have the NFC Players of the Week were announced. One Saint and one former Saint are the Players of the Week. The NFC Defensive Player of the Week is Cam Jordan. And I made a pretty hot take proclamation this morning when I saw the news. Some agreed, some disagreed that I think he is the best right now. Going into week 7 of the NFL season, I think he is the best overall defensive end in the NFL. Of course, it's arguable, but I've seen this guy play, and he hasn't gotten his due. And this year, he's just been a wrecking crew, whether it's in the pass game, whether it's against the run and rushing the passer. And I say the pass game because that was part of my argument. He dropped back into coverage against the Lions and took Golden Tate on a crossing route, was step for step with him. Yes, the pass was completed, but he tackled him immediately and it was for a 5-yard gain. And the fact that they think he can step back into coverage and hang with Golden Tate, I think should tell you something.
Well, remember, he almost had an interception in the red zone against the Vikings in the opener. He's an amazing athlete. He doesn't – it's funny, too. Now, this is going to sound a little weird, I guess, but he doesn't look like a great athlete to me. Like, he does – you look at Adrian Peterson, you're like, wow, that guy's ripped. And Cam Jordan's just kind of this – I don't know. I've never –
Well, because he's 280 pounds.
He's a big dude. Yeah, you're right.
He's a big guy.
For
I think that's part of it. Right.
I know when we've talked to Zach Street before, the thing he always says stands out about Cam Jordan is his hands are so strong that if he gets his hands on you, and we've seen it, I mean, he can control an offensive lineman. He's just got this punch, and we saw him emasculate that backup right tackle for the Lions last week.
He did the same thing to a guard, too. Just totally just picked him up and pushed him into he was incredible last week. So he rightfully so deserved the Defensive Player of the Week. But the NFC Player of the Week on the offensive side of the football was not Drew Brees, was not Alvin Kamara, was not Mark Ingram. It was Adrian Peterson.
That's amazing. I wonder how many times he's won that thing. He's had to have won it a bunch of times. You saw the stat from Randall Lew. Cameron Jordan was the first Saints defensive end to win the award since 2005.
Since Darren Howard.
2005. That's before Peyton Breeze.
Adrian Peterson has won the Offensive Player of the Week award 8 times. The only running backs that have won Player of the Week honors in either league more than him were Barry Sanders, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Emmitt Smith. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, he deserved it. He had a great game, especially considering he showed up there, on like Tuesday or something?
Yeah.
It's striking. It's amazing. Well, we'll see if he can.
So what?
We'll see if he can continue it. And I'm eager to talk to Aaron Nagler today about the Packers. I listened in on the conference call this morning with Sean Payton, and he had really high praise for Brett Hundley, and really expects him to have a good game plan. And he said they valued him coming out of the draft. Was a guy they were high on. Of course, they took Garrett Grayson instead.
Garrett Grayson is now on the practice squad for the Falcons. Oh, baby, he's going to replace Matt Ryan. Look out, Falcons fans. Quarterback controversy.
That happened. There was a lot of moves yesterday, right?
Yeah, we'll get into those moves later on in the show as well. With a local favorite is coming back. Looks like Michael Maudie will be back because Nate Stupar, we talked about yesterday, tore his ACL, and the Saints certainly need a special teams boost, and Mike Amati is probably about as perfect of a fit as you can get because he knows exactly what you're going to be doing, and he's about 5 minutes away.
Yeah, Peyton said his workout was incredible, and he said, look, Maudie was in good shape in camp, but he said you could tell he's really been training and had a lights-out workout. So it's obviously a good story locally for him and what he's been through. Yeah, and you're right. They'll plug and play with Mike Maudie.
Easily, because you're not going to need him on defense. Most of the time you're playing two linebackers with the Saints, whether it's Klein and Teo or Klein and Robertson. So they're in good shape there. And so, look, and Adam Big Hill is on the 53-man. Well, I'm trying to think. Actually.
Well, he's the one that got released.
He got released.
I assume they'll
bring him back to the practice squad. So, but they might. And here's the thing: they might put him back on by the time game time comes.
Yeah, he's in that yo-yo. Right. We've seen guys do that before.
Right, exactly. So, no, we'll get into some of those moves later on in the show. Also, I've got some quick interviews that I did with Alex Okafor and with Manti Te'o about my column I wrote that just got published this morning on NOLA.com and is in our print editions of the Times-Picayune about the blitz-happy Saints. And it was funny. We talked about this during the Monday show, how Sean Payton tried to tell me, well, we didn't blitz that much. Give me a break. They blitzed the hell out of Matt Stafford, and it's worked. And they've blitzed the hell out of Cam Newton and the hell out of Jay Cutler. And guess what? They better not stop because it's been effective. And we'll kind of go through my column and just kind of what I saw because it's so diverse, some of the things that they're doing. Look, 3-4 looks they were throwing at Matt Stafford. And even sometimes when they would just rush 4, it would be three defensive linemen, and Von Bell will come flying in, and it's very exotic, and it's a credit to Dennis Allen, and it's a credit to the players. Everyone trusts each other, and you could see that on film.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Sean Payton about that later this week because I think Dennis Allen, you and I have talked about it, I think he's done an incredible job of considering where this team was after week 2 and how they got lit up those first 2 weeks and the way they're playing now. It's like night and day. And you could hear it in Peyton's voice today on the conference call. I mean, he is very, very encouraged. I mean, you can just sense the way he talks about the team. I mean, I think he's ready to play a game today.
Yeah.
Because they're playing well.
I wouldn't blame him. Yeah, exactly.
You know, they got it rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a quick break right here on the show. Let's lay out the show. Will Guillory, Pelicans beat writer for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, coming up on about 12 minutes or so. 10:45, Todd Graffinini, radio play-by-play voice for the Tulane Green Wave. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com. And we will squeeze in your phone calls if you want to jump in the show. 504-260-1280 on a Wobble Wednesday. Will Guillory almost ruined his Wobble Wednesday appearance, but no, we're going to squeeze him in, and he's got to bounce with Big Frida and Cheeky Black and who else, Dave? Give me some other local rappers. Partners in Crime, UNLV, DJ Jubilee. Who am I missing? Did I just...
Cain and Abel? FCT Tucker?
I don't know who those people are.
Wow, you all are talking a different language.
Jeff wants to talk about...
Can we get back to...
Young MC.
LL Cool J?
Right, exactly. Get out of here with that. So, come on back. Sports1280NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app. Jeff Duncan's here. Dave's back in the studio. Larry Holder's here. We're Duncan Holder. Where are you going?
Action.
He's at the 5, comes back in. He's in the end zone. He's got it in the end zone. Touchdown Tulane.
Hard hit.
How much time we got?
You have 3 minutes.
All right, I'm going to go make a coffee. Okay. And Jeff's got, of course, Tinkle.
Tulane hosts USF.
Bye, guys. I miss you already.
Action right here on your home for Green Wave football.
Sports 1280, New Orleans.
If you need a payday loan fast, try LendUp.com. Apply in minutes on your phone or computer, and you could have cash in your account fast. LendUp.com, the better payday loan. LendUp.com, subject to availability in your state. LendUp is a licensed credit services organization, not a direct lender, in Ohio and Texas.
JCPenney's Power Penny Days are here. Starting this Friday through Sunday, score some great fall deals, like select $5 JCPenney home bath towels, $11 St. John's Bay flannels for him, $13 Kids Arizona denim, and lace-up sweatshirts for her, just $15. Plus, you can stack on the savings and get your coupon on the JCPenney app to save an extra 20% with your JCPenney credit card. Hurry, Power Penny Days end Sunday. JCPenney. Coupon valid 10/20 to 10/22. Subject to credit approval. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Google is adding an extra layer of security for some high-risk users. The Advanced Protection Program is for political campaign staffers, journalists needing to protect confidential sources, and people in abusive relationships who are seeking safety. Those who sign up will need a physical security card to sign in and will not have full access to their Gmail and Drive accounts. Advanced protection is limited to personal accounts, and you do not need to be a celebrity or political figure to enroll. A report says more customers in the U.S. are buying the iPhone 7 than the iPhone 8. Analyst KeyBank Capital Markets says the 7 is cheaper and that there's not a whole lot of new goodies to entice users to upgrade to the 8, but mostly consumers could just be holding out for the iPhone 10. Snapchat has given basketball fans the finger. The app is rolling out a new set of augmented reality world lenses that allows fans watching NBA games live in the arena to snap dancing 3D foam fingers. Fans can call up a foam finger decked out in the home team's gear. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News Radio.
What if hiring could be easier, with more qualified candidates and faster results? What if hiring could be smarter? Thanks to ZipRecruiter, it can be. With one click, post your job to over 100 top job boards. Then, their smart technology notifies the most qualified candidates to apply. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/expand. That's ZipRecruiter.com/expand.
They're out of it?
If you or a loved one suffer from depression, this message is for you.
Oh.
Over
yeah, no, I almost feel like I need
Americans
to
battle depression.
bring my own in or
Yet
something.
fewer than half respond to their first prescription, leading to a frustrating cycle of trial.
That thing over there is like,
There's a better
I'll let
way.
it sit with
Genetic
coffee and
tests
it's
can
got like
help
mold in
predict
it.
which treatments will be
I've got a Yeti cup in my car that's got like,
I don't even know what's going on.
Schmutz.
Petri dish.
Disaster, yeah.
For more information, talk with your doctor and ask
Yeah,
for
so
a test. This public service
whoever's cup this is, sorry. Cup thief.
Kohl's home sale is going on now. Stop in and pick up Cuddle Dud's sheet.
People steal cups here all the time, man, because we all get these free mugs working in radio. They're like, here, have another mug. So everybody just steals everybody's crap.
Candles are 25% off.
It's like,
No
well, you got it
regard.
for free, you ain't gonna miss it.
I've got no regard. It's like a little Mardi Gras plastic cup.
LEAF.
I'm drinking coffee out of it.
Right now at Kohl.
All right, coming back.
Offer valid October 12th through 22nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
You pat your legs with your hands some more. Hit the Mabasude time for the radio.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Jeff, get down with Wobble Wobble Wednesday. This is Cheeky Black. All up in your life.
What is going on?
This is Cheeky Black.
What am I supposed to? How am I supposed to respond to that? It is kind of catchy.
That's awesome. Thanks, Larry.
Exactly. That's
awesome.
Thank you, Larry Holder, for educating me on New Orleans.
This is a
late '90s rap artist.
This is a New Orleanian. Okay,
yes.
I'm into it then.
What do you think Dave's going to
At the
throw
beginning
some?
of the song, she says, "This is for 1996."
See? Get with Cheeky Black.
All right. I'm open-minded about this stuff. It sounds catchy.
You're open-minded.
What is
about
it?
This stuff.
Is it bounce music? Am I in the wrong genre or wrong?
I don't know. What would you consider this, Dave? Bounce, rap, both?
Yeah, it's bounce.
Oh, okay. See, I knew that.
I knew that. I knew that.
I'll have to go ask DJ Slab on Throwback.
Yes, yeah. I don't. So I don't even know DJ Slab. I don't even know our guy at our sister station.
He's on Q93 also on the Social Shakedown on the weekends.
Oh my gosh, I don't. That's way too hip for me. That's
I
way
like
too
that.
hip.
I
for
do
me.
like that name, DJ Slab. I like that.
DJ Jiggity Jeff, is that good? Or did
I'm
DJ
the
Jazzy Jeff steal your name?
DJ, he did.
Stole it from
people.
you.
There's trolls that call me that often on Twitter. They love that.
Jazzy Jeff.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
You mean there are actually trolls on Twitter?
I can't believe it. No.
Stunning, I know. Pelicans tonight, 7:00 tip at the Memphis Grizzlies. season opener for both. Only 4 teams had the doubleheader last night. And Jeff, you mentioned it. Gordon Hayward, devastating injury for Boston. Is he going to be out for the season?
Yeah, I think he fractured his ankle. I think he dislocated it.
Yikes!
Apparently, it was turned around backward. His foot. It was ugly.
That sounds disgusting.
You don't want to see that one.
I don't want to see that either.
Can you imagine though, if you're a Celtics fan, 5 minutes into your season, you're playing the team you've got to challenge, and this guy goes down, your big free agent acquisition. And they came back. They almost won the game. It was amazing. They were down by like 18 or 19 points at one point. So, but yeah, that's a devastating injury. And then last night, the Rockets go into Golden State, as you mentioned, and upset Golden State. So now the Warriors, they were getting their rings. They had all this big celebration with the owner. A little bit of a letdown. Womp womp.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to try to have a lift up when they come to New Orleans on Friday. That's the home opener at the Smoothie King Center. But look, we've talked about the Pelicans a bunch in terms of the anticipation to the season, in terms of how much this season is going to mean as far as the state of the franchise. And Jeff, I think everyone involved understands what this season means. The players do. Alvin Gentry does. Dell Demps does, Mickey Loomis, Tom Benson, everyone on Airline Drive understands that, A, you've got to play well this season to get this thing going, or jobs are going to be had. B, you've got to get it done early because the front end of the schedule is Saints-like. It's a challenging front end. Your first 2 home games are against Golden State and Cleveland. Could you ask for a worse schedule? I think not, because I think they have the worst opening home schedule probably in the NBA.
Yeah, and I just dropped my 10 pressing questions post, because there's a lot of questions with this team going into the season, on and off the court. And so if you get a chance, check that out on NOLA.com. I also have my crystal ball prediction at 11 o'clock, so a half hour away.
Look at you giving a little tease.
Picking the season for the Pelicans. But in looking at that, Larry, I mean, the front end of the season, they play 8 of their first 12 games on the road and 13 of their first 20. So basically the first 6 weeks going into December, they play 13 playoff teams from a year ago. So that front-loaded schedule. Now, look, the NBA, 8 of the 15 teams in each conference make the playoffs, so over half are in the playoffs anyway. But the schedule isn't good early on. It's difficult, and you're missing one of your key guys, Rajon Rondo, and your glue guy, Solomon Hill. Somehow, Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins and Drew Holiday, that big three, they're going to have to bear that burden early on and weather the storm, because I really don't think this team can afford to get in a hole, not only in the win-loss record, because then you're behind the 8 ball trying to play catch-up in a tough conference, but also to generate the enthusiasm you need in this city. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it anyway, because the Saints are winning, and when the Saints win, people just forget about basketball until January.
But I do think, at least at the box office, your 2 home openers, even though they're brutal opponents, you will have people and butts in the seats, because it's the Warriors and it's LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So at least they have that going for them. But yeah, I agree. This is going to be tough sledding. And let's jump more back into this. Let's take a quick break right here on the show. And when we come back, Will Guillory, Pelicans beat writer for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. He is efforting to the airport, to the bus, to the train, hitchhiking, I don't know. However he's getting there, because he's going to be covering Pelicans Grizzlies tonight in Memphis. And we will get his perspective. Coming up here next, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
He said we got 2 people on.
Your forecast on Sports 1280.
Oh, my phone's over here.
Oh, so you want to go to them real quick? Because I think Will.
Brother hung up. Cordell's still on the line.
Oh, who you got? Who you got, Dave?
This afternoon.
Brother hung up, but Cordell's still there.
We could do Cordell real quick, and then I can tell Will will come to him in 5 minutes. You want to do that? Or not? You tell me.
It's up to y'all. I mean,
No.
Keep him on.
Is Will ready for us now? You said he was at the airport. I mean, is
Like
he ready
we're
for us
trying to
go?
fit him in, and then
Let's
we got
fit him in. All right, let's fit him in.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
tell Cordell
I
we're jammed up. We got 3 guests in the next 3 segments.
All right, cool. Yeah, no problem. All right.
Yeah, you could call us
We'll
back
climb
in
into
11.
the upper 70s
Yeah, 'cause we'll be
this
talking more
afternoon
Saints
for
in the
another
11 o'clock
nice
hour.
day.
That's good.
Lots of sunshine and no rain to worry about, with low humidity as well. Overnight, we'll fall
So
into the
did
mid-50s
Aaron
on the North
replace
Shore, mid-60s on the
McGinn?
South Shore, and then we're keeping
No,
those
I think
temperatures
Aaron's, like,
climbing
based
into the
in
low
New York.
80s for
He
highs
just
tomorrow
does, like, some-
and mid-80s by Friday. From the Fox 8
'Cause he
Weather
was working
Center,
for
I
I'm
see him
Shelby
on the games, though.
Latino.
I
Have
see
a
him
great
at the
day.
games, like doing videos with those guys.
Maybe
So
he
must
goes
go
in
to
on
every
game
game.
day.
Every Wednesday.
That's crazy.
from 1
Well, it's
p.m. to
probably
5
easier to-
p.m. with live music and an
Think about it.
assortment
It's
of
probably
local, fresh
easier and
produce,
cheaper to get
seafood,
flights out of
and
New York to
products.
any
Learn
games
more
that the Packers
at
play as opposed to
FrenchMarket.org.
flying out of like Green Bay.
That's true.
The Yankees.
Yeah, I guess he
again,
kind of
coming back
because
from
I
a
did
4-0
this
deficit
like
in game 4 of the ALCS.
FaceTime
The
with
Bronx
him
last
yesterday,
night to top the
video, and I
Astros.
gotta
6-4,
like,
the best of 7
send me like 3
championship
questions. I
series
gotta write
now
up
tied
some
at 2
stuff
games
on.
apiece.
So that's why I was like, oh hey, you want to come
Yeah,
over?
it's perfect.
Meanwhile, the Dodgers are win away.
Yeah,
from their
McGinn's
first
been emailing me a
World
bunch of
Series
stuff. I got to
since
check it
All right,
out.
we got Will.
All right, cool.
And yeah, Cordell said he'll call back.
Yeah, that's cool.
with a
Okay.
6-1 game.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like a new caller, I'd say maybe we'd try to squeeze him in, but yeah,
Right.
I agree.
And
That's
it
what I was
wasn't
thinking,
anything
too.
pressing.
Yeah,
It's not like
regulars will always call back. I
Right.
mean, they kind of get they get the feel of the show.
The first quarter in their season opening loss to the Cavaliers in Cleveland. Head coach Brad Stevens.
Whether you play on the Celtics or play on the Cavs, I mean, nobody wants to see that.
102-99 the final. Kyrie Irving with 22 points and 10 dimes in his return to Cleveland. In the nightcap, the Rockets to shock the defending champion Warriors 122-121 at Oracle Arena. That's sports. Jay Corwin, NBC News Radio.
What's up, Will?
Your teams, your Sports 1280 New Orleans.
Look, even Boogie Cousins gives Will Guillory a shout out in the midst of a late 90s New Orleans rap song. Look, it's just, he gets it. You need to get it, Jeff. Get with it.
I'm trying.
Get with it.
I got a long way to go.
You have molded me into Country Fried Friday. I need to mold you into Wobble Wobble Wednesday as far as mid-90s, late 90s rap stars from New Orleans. Get with it.
This clay needs a lot of work for molding.
I don't want to mold your clay.
A little faulty clay here.
I'm afraid of molding your clay. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Will Guillory, NOLA.com, Times Picayune, Pelicans beat writer joining us right here on the show. Will, got to be fired up. Season opener tonight. You followed this team throughout the preseason, throughout all the training camp practices. I know we've talked about this a bunch in previous interviews. Just your overall sense of where this team is walking into the season. If for those who, now that the season's starting and they're listening, who haven't been paying attention, just kind of lay out the landscape of this Pelicans team walking into game 1 of 82.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it all summer. The storyline with this team going into the season is just how important it is going to be for them to finally turn this thing around and start putting some wins on the board and really get into that playoff picture in the Western Conference. I mean, the past few years have been just kind of marred with the injuries that have plagued this roster top to bottom. And now they have DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis in the building, first time for a full season together. They've been working together all summer, and they're hoping that they can put this thing together and make a run for the playoffs, because if not, half the roster's on one-year deals. There's questions surrounding head coach Alvin Gentry, possibly general manager Dell Demps. So if they don't start putting some wins on the board, then there might be some major changes over on Airline Drive.
Yeah, Will, I noticed the other day interview with DeMarcus Cousins. He seems really excited and encouraged about the fact that the Pelicans are kind of going counterintuitive here. They're outside the box compared to the trends of the rest of the NBA, which is going small ball, positionless basketball. The Pelicans are going to be running their offense through these two bigs, and it sounds like they're going to put the ball in Cousins and Davis' hands, their two best players, and let those guys make plays. What did you get the sense of Cousins and in talking to him the other day, how he feels about that? It sounds like he's embracing that challenge.
Yeah, I actually wrote about this on the site today. You like that plug there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, DeMarcus this is definitely one of the more interesting rosters around the league, considering that they're building pretty much around two big guys that are going to be scoring 20 to 25 points a night, which is something no other team in the league has, and let alone two guys that are as explosive as DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. And what makes it even more interesting is the fact that they lost Rajon Rondo during the preseason. He's probably going to be out the first month of the season. So instead of saying, hey, we're going to give the ball to Drew Holiday, allow him to be the point guard more, Alvin Gentry is kind of going the opposite way and saying, hey, we're going to have DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis handle the ball more. They're going to create more shots. We're not going to look to our other guards to kind of pick up the slack. We're going to look to our big guys to pick up the slack. So this is going to be a really interesting equation to kind of see how they can figure this thing out, whether the legend of Point Boogie is a real thing, how many assists, how many shots he can create for this offense, whether Anthony Davis can improve in that area. That's going to be a really big test for this team, because they gave Drew Holiday a huge contract this offseason, over $100 million, but the intentions were never to have him as kind of the Chris Paul, Stephen Curry type of point guards where you're going to run the offense through him, running pick and roll. He was never going to be that guy for this offense, and they want to stay away from that as much as possible. So in order for that to happen, they're going to have to get DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis to be the playmakers for this offense.
Will Guillory covers the Pelicans for NOLA.com and a Times-Picayune. Join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Jeff Dunc and Larry Holder here with you from our NOLA.com Times-Picayune studios at the foot of Canal Street. Will, you mentioned Drew Holiday, of course, huge contract, and his role is changing. Of course, fans of the Pelicans are used to seeing injuries by now. Of course, no Rajon Rondo. My question is, how much do you at least think that the fact that Drew Holiday was in training camp, because we have not seen him in training camp for the past couple of years, the fact that they at least have some time, now it might be 2 weeks, but at least some time to adjust, do you think that Drew Holiday can play that role properly, balance it from being a distributor like Rondo was going to be, and to being a scorer as well that they originally thought he would be coming out this season?
Yeah, and I think even more than him figuring out his role on the team, I think the most important thing for him having an entire training camp with the team this offseason was just to kind of get his body right, to get his mind right going into the season. Last year he had the situation with his family off the court where he really didn't even get back on the basketball court until, the season already started. He wasn't really fully into basketball mode until the Pelicans were 10, 12 games into the season already. So now he's fully prepared. He's mentally prepared for this opportunity. He's got his contract situation out the way, so that's not something on his mind. His family's good. His wife's health is in shape. His daughter's doing well. So everything off the court is going well for Drew Holiday. So you have to think that he's going to just be in a much better place on the court going into the season. And now his role's a little bit up in the air, like you said, but I think playing with DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis kind of takes some of that pressure off of his shoulders. He just has to go out and play, and he has to excel, because he has a top perimeter player on this team, and they need him to play well to be successful. So he doesn't have any more excuses this year. Never did he, not that he used excuses before, but everything's lining up for him to be successful, so it has to happen for him this year.
Well, let's talk about this game tonight. It's kind of strange. They played their final preseason game against the very same Memphis Grizzlies, and it wasn't a very inspiring effort. I know it's preseason, so you don't want to read much into that, but what do you think about this game tonight? It's a tough assignment. You're on the road. You're playing a team that's been a long-time rival. And the Pelicans, I want to know they want to play with pace. Chris Finch has said they want to be in the top 5 in the league in pace. And then they get in against these kind of defensive brawlers. We know the way the Grizzlies like to play. It sounds to me like this could be a game whoever controls the pace of the game might have it going in their advantage.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting game for the Pelicans to start the season with, because while the top guys in Memphis are still Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, we know what we're getting from those guys on a night-to-night basis. There's a whole lot of change in Memphis during the offseason. Obviously, Tony Allen is now a member of the Pelicans after spending the past 7 seasons in Memphis. Zach Randolph isn't on that team anymore. So they're starting to go in a different direction. They want to play more of an up-tempo style, and it's still a mystery right now whether they're going to still be able to, play at that high level, compete in the Western Conference without going with that grit and grind style that's kind of become their identity over the past few years. So, and the Pelicans are the same thing. It's still a question what their identity is going to be going into the season. And these are two teams that are probably going to be competing for those 7th, 8th spots in the bottom of the Western Conference. So to come out tonight and really have a good start for either one of these teams is going to be big for them going forward, and to kind of show what they can be going into the season. And especially for the Pelicans, considering 4 of their first 5 games on the road, 3 of those games are against teams that made it to the playoffs last year. I'm sorry, 2 of those games are against teams that made the playoffs last year. So they're going to be tested early. They're gonna be on the road. They're gonna have to figure this thing out quickly, because they can't get off the 2-10, 1-11 start that they've had over the past few years, because that'd be too big of a mountain to climb to make the Western Conference playoffs. I mean, there's too many good teams out there.
Will Guillory, NOLA.com, Times-Picayune Pelicans beat writer, join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Will, we thought we knew at least 4 of the starting starters going into this season. We know for sure 3. Who's going to be starting at the 2 guard, and who's going to be starting at the small forward spot for the Pelicans tonight? At least that you anticipate.
Yeah, it's going to be Etuan Moore starting at the shooting guard. Dante Cunningham starting at the 3. Dante Cunningham wasn't that big of a surprise. He's a guy that they added late in free agency, but he's been with the team the past few years. He understands how to play that role and what the team needs from him. So I think he's probably someone the team's going to feel comfortable with going forward. Now, Etuan Moore, he's a little bit more up in the air, considering the Gentry's kind of floated out there. He might consider moving him back to the bench to kind of be that main ball handler with the bench unit, because they really don't have that with Ian Clark and Jordan Crawford coming off of the bench. So I think right now it's kind of a wait-and-see kind of thing with Etuan Moore in the starting lineup, but I think Gentry likes the way he plays with that starting unit. He kind of prides himself on his versatility and his ability to kind of play with anybody. And I think that works well with Drew Holiday. Neither one of them is a really true point guard, true shooting guard, so they can kind of balance each other out. And I think it'll work out well, but it's just a matter of Etuan Moore and Dante Cunningham are going to have to knock down those perimeter shots. When you play with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, you're going to get open shots. You got to make them. And if not, this team's going to struggle again on offense.
Will Guillory on his way to Memphis covering Pelicans, Grizzlies for us here at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Hey, Will, appreciate the time. And, buddy, you're going to have to hold my hand on Friday. I have not true story, I have not covered an NBA game since I've worked at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. I have not covered an NBA game. I don't even know where the Smoothie King Center is.
Real quick, before we let Will go, we have to plug his performance in the media game. Word on the street is that he had a Steph-like performance from long range. Can you verify this?
I can confirm this. This is all factual information. It's documented on Twitter. So you can go to the Pelicans official Twitter account, or you can go to my Twitter account and see my shooting. I'm still waiting for my phone call to get my 10-day. But I'm sure it'll come eventually, and maybe Larry's going to have to take over the beat for me.
Will, have you seen me on Twitter doing athletic ability? No. We need you to actually make us look good.
Carry the torch.
I mean, Matt Stafford holdered on Sunday, so, Will, we need you draining threes from long range. But, hey, Will, appreciate the time. And I will certainly see you Friday, but appreciate all the hard work. And game 1 for you, my friend. Get ready.
I'm excited, man. I appreciate you guys for having me.
There you go. That's Will Guillory, NOLA.com, Times-Picayune Pelicans beat writer. Coming up next on the show, Todd Grappanini, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane taking on South Florida at Yulman Stadium on Saturday night. And, of course, we're the flagship station for Tulane football. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
That's pretty good right there. That's pretty good.
What?
And the New Orleans
that
Saints,
song.
what can you say?
I feel like I've heard it. I don't know what. I don't know what that is.
That was pretty good. Dave, who was that?
Ward Weeby.
Who?
Fifth Ward Weeby.
Fifth Ward Weeby.
Ward Weeby. Weebie.
That's kind of catchy.
Fifth Ward Weeby Wobble Wobble Wednesday. How much alliteration do you need?
I mean,
You're getting Todd Waffanini on
throw
now.
in some onomatopoeia and we're rolling.
Onomatopoeia. Throw that in a haiku and we'll be good to go.
My God, South Florida is just killing people. I think they're in trouble.
Allison, no.
I'm only riding if they win, if Tulane wins.
They beat Temple 43-7.
Don't say that. YouTube can hear you.
East Carolina 61-31.
I'm going to the game. I'm covering the game, but I'm only writing a column if Tulane wins.
They beat Illinois 47-23.
Write it.
That wasn't even my call.
Right, I'm calling graphs, so y'all be nice.
And now with football
Make sure he's
still
not on the.
most of your week is
Make sure he's not on the Crescent City Connection.
He still might be on medication. I don't know.
Look at you looking up horse.
Yeah,
we got a show to do, and this guy, degenerate gambler Jeff Duncan's looking up horse racing.
I got an email from Bensel today. They got a horse running.
Right on the app.
So I looked him up.
He got an inside tip on a horse. That's what it is.
Yep.
Well, not on a
Marijuana is lowering opioid-related deaths in Colorado. The American Journal of Public Health
It's going to be the death of my career at some point.
You're going to do something on here.
It's going to happen.
Opioid-related deaths
It's going to happen.
More than 6%. Marijuana, like
Little
opioids, is often
bombs
used for pain management.
don't matter, but yeah.
A new
then you just
study
say
suggests
something like,
so-called magic mushrooms
I can't
might
even
be
find
an
it.
effective treatment for depression. British researchers tested the chemical in them on 19 severely
Wonder if he's
depressed
scratched.
patients. All
I'll
reported
text him.
immediate benefits. Researchers
Bensel
think the
sends me
mushrooms
texts
might
on
be
his horses.
disrupting negative thought
That's it.
patterns, in effect, resetting or rebooting the brain. Well,
I don't
Apple
see
is
him on the
taking a
list.
serious look at getting into healthcare. CNBC says the company came very close to buying a medical clinic startup recently. Analysts say it could be a logical move for Apple, whose Apple Watch allows doctors to monitor a patient's health. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
What time is the game tonight? Do you know?
Hi, this
7.
is Jennifer Coolidge.
Perfect.
The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/.
All right, 20 seconds and we got graph.
All right.
Nationally supported by the WellPoint Foundation.
Hi, I'm Nick Jonas, and I'm here to tell you about Think It Up, a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at thinkitup.org.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Todd Grappanini, voice of the Tulane Green Wave. Of course, you can listen to every Tulane football game and men's basketball game right here on your flagship station, Sports 1280 AM. And Todd refuses to take my phone calls during Dodgers-Cubs. He acts like I have some sort of magic voodoo that he can't talk to me because it would ruin the outcome of the game. Todd, have you seen the Cubs relief pitching? It's not going to ruin anything. They stink, and you guys are going to sweep. Go Dodgers. I'm already on board with you for the World Series. Get ready.
And if you think I'm going to respond to that, Larry, you're crazy because I am laser focused. It is one game at a time. I'm not going to get sucked into your nonsense, and we're just going to keep plugging along, keep chopping wood, as they would say. I'm going to pull every cliche out in the book.
Last time I heard a
Another
team
game tonight at 8:00.
Yeah, last time I heard a team chopping wood, the guy chopped his leg in the locker room. So keep chopping wood over there in Dodger country. Go for it. Go, buddy. Go. Come on. You can respond.
0-0.
You can respond. Jinx. Oh, who cares?
I won't.
You'll respond later tonight when they win and they sweep 4-0. Anyway, Tulane taking on South Florida on Saturday. And I listened to you on the call with FIU, and I understand that game certainly didn't go the way that Tulane wanted it to go because they lost 23-10, and it was a letdown. But I'm be honest with you, win or lose that game, this game coming up doesn't matter. South Florida, number 16 team in the country. You've got to be ready to play regardless of what happened in the previous weeks because South Florida, very legit. And Jeff, you were wondering if this is the highest ranked team to ever come into Ullman. Is that true, or am I missing something there?
No, they're number one. Houston a couple of years ago might have been around this ranking, but as far as what USF has done on both sides of the ball, I think this, without question, is going to be the most complete team that will come into Ullman Stadium in its early existence. Guys, there are absolutely no weaknesses on offense, defense, or special teams for that matter. And when the numbers are staggering. They've scored 30 or more points in an NC2A record-tying 23 straight games. So basically, for the last 2 seasons, they've scored 30 points or more in every game. That's ridiculous to think about. So they don't have an off day offensively. And even if they turn the ball over, which they don't, they're number one in turnover margin in the entire NC2A at plus 13. They still find ways to score. They're number 13 in the country in overall, in total offense. They're number 12 in the country in total defense. They lead the nation in interceptions. And as I mentioned, number one in turnover margin. They give up about 77 yards a game rushing, which is number 2, I want to say. And look, if you thought the challenge in Miami was something, that pales in comparison to what USF is going to bring on Saturday.
Yeah, Graf, I tell you, we've seen South Florida play last couple of years. I've watched them build that program down there. Willie Taggart built it, and now Charlie Strong's taken it over. And the guy that, of course, makes that offense go is the quarterback, Quentin Flowers. This is a guy that, earns some Heisman mention because he's the straw that stirs their drink. He's not off to an incredible start right now, but 10 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. I would think Tulane has got to control him if they have any chance at pulling off this upset.
No question. And Jeff, the thing is that he's really a better runner than he is a passer, and he's a pretty darn good passer. And isn't it quite ironic that the running backs coach for the USF Bulls is one Sean King, one of the all-time greats at Tulane University, of course, engineered the 12-0 perfect season at quarterback. And I see a lot of Sean King and Flowers. I think Flowers is a little bit faster. I thought Sean was more accurate throwing the football, but just the uncanny ability to know what to do, when to do it. If they're giving you the run, just take off and go. And he's like a running back when he takes off and runs. I'm talking about Flowers. And again, they've got talent on the outside where he can find those speedy wideouts. And it's just, again, an offense which literally has not been stopped in 2 years. So, Flowers, again, reminds me a lot of Sean King. It reminds me of the Louisville QB as well, Jeff. They're a lot alike. And that's why they're good on both sides of the ball. But when your quarterback is that dynamic, they're extremely hard to beat.
Todd Graffinini, voice of the Tulane Green Wave, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Of course,
4 minutes.
Tulane is going to be hosting South Florida, and you can listen to it right here on your flagship station for Tulane football on Sports 1280 AM. Hey, Todd, you look at the way Tulane had played the previous couple of games, and then they played against FIU. I don't think that they're probably dynamite like they are every week against Tulsa, and I don't think they will come out and play as poor as they did in Miami against FIU. But Todd, what needs to change to make this upset a possible and, an actual reality?
Well, I can tell you just a couple of things off the top of my head that absolutely need to change. First things first, Tulane's got to get off the field on third down, which is something they did not do against FIU. Kept some drives going. Now, if you really think about it, guys, it was a 13-10 game in the third quarter. Tulane had plenty chances to win the ball game, but they just couldn't get the offense on the field enough for extra possessions. And in the grand scheme, FIU only scored 23 points. So it was definitely a winnable game, and that brings me to the other side of the ball. Tulane just has not been able to convert on third downs consistently. When you're really talking about all year, I think that the Tulsa game, which was a game in itself, they were able to convert on those third down situations. But third down has really been a killer for Tulane, and it was again on Saturday. And then when there are plays to be made in the passing game, you've got to make the plays. Tulane was able to rush the ball somewhat effectively against FIU. I think they used some defenses that had not been seen on tape. I sure as heck didn't see them.
2 minutes
on tape, because what I watched, FIU was a sieve defensively. So, but Tulane had opportunities in the passing game to make plays and the plays were not made. And it was just, again, a very frustrating, disappointing day. But the good thing is there's another game on Saturday, and they've been back at work now for 2 practices, and they're just putting their head down and going, and hopefully they can put what happened on Saturday behind them. They're going to have to, because, like I said, that FIU was a scrimmage compared to what we're going to see on Saturday with this team coming in.
Todd, lay out the week here on Sports 1280, which we got tonight and what we got on game day come Saturday.
All right, Willie Fritz show tonight. That'll be 7 to 8 right here on Sports 1280. And then on Saturday will be prime time at Yeoman Fest, 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN2, a rare ESPN2 game for the Tulane Green Wave at night. So, again, the nation's going to get a chance to see that brand-new Angry Wave on top of the scoreboard in the south end zone. We'll be on the air for the tailgate show at 5 o'clock. We'll be out in the tailgate area during the pregame show, so that'll be a lot of fun. And the bands will be going, fireworks after the game. There's going to be a lot of fireworks in Yeoman Stadium.
30 seconds.
And we'll see what happens. But 5 o'clock pregame, 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday right here on Sports 1280.
Todd Grappanini, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. Hey, Todd, appreciate the time, and I will see you Saturday at Yeoman Stadium. So good times for all. Let's take a top of the hour break. Coming up next, Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com. We'll talk Saints Packers. So come on back, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder. I know that. Oh, he knows national guys.
The Advanced Protection Program.
Local yokels.
Oh, wow. He knew Naughty by Nature?
Yeah, Jeff knew Naughty by Nature.
Way to go,
You want to give me some water?
We're seeking safety.
You're so hip.
Need a physical
or a
security
cup,
card to sign
if they have any.
And will not have
Thank
full
you, buddy.
access to their Gmail and
I love
Drive
you.
accounts. Advanced Protection is limited to personal accounts, and you
Did you just belittle him and then make him go get you water?
Well, he was running out the
more
door.
customers in the U.S.
Sure.
Something like that.
Analyst KeyBank Capital Markets says the 7 is cheaper and that there's not a whole lot of new goodies to entice users to upgrade to the 8, but mostly consumers could just be holding out for the iPhone 10. Snapchat has given basketball fans the finger. The app is rolling out a new set of augmented reality world lenses that allows fans watching NBA games live in the arena to snap dancing 3D foam fingers. Fans can call up a foam finger decked out in the home team's gear. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News Radio.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports Trending now.
So Ezekiel Elliott will be eligible after all to play for Dallas Sunday at San Francisco against the 49ers. A federal judge granted a temporary restraining order blocking the league's suspension of the Cowboys running back. During Tuesday's meetings that included NFL players and league officials, no changes were made to the NFL's policy on the national anthem. In fact, Eagles defensive back Malcolm Jenkins said the sides hardly talked about the anthem. Colin Kaepernick's attorney, Mark Garagos, released a statement saying his client wasn't invited to the meetings. NBA news, Gordon Hayward is expected to have surgery after suffering a dislocated ankle and broken left leg just 5 minutes into his Celtics debut last night. Boston lost.
That was nasty.
San Antonio
the injury?
Spurs
I didn't see the injury. I don't want to see it.
For tonight's season opener.
I'll send it to you, pal.
I'm Deb Carson.
Thanks, Gav. Recent extreme weather. All right, 4 minutes.
Oh my gosh! So I don't think I told you I got to the bottom of the whole Corey Johnson commentary thing.
Oh, yeah, like he would. So who was it at WGNO, or was it somebody?
Yeah, no, it was somebody at WGNO, but it was clear as day. And I feel like I got like an audio clip of like what we heard during it was a question about Alvin Kamara, and then it was almost like it was planned. You hear, oh, what do you think about Alvin Kamara? Jumping over the player, and it was like right after, a split second after, Corey says, "My God, why is Donald Trump not helping out Puerto Rico?" And it was like clear as day. Yeah, wow. It was like you're impressed with Alvin Kamara jumping over, and it was literally right after. My God.
That's awesome.
It was classic. That's why there was no transcript. I know. I need to like figure out how to do it. I don't know why I can't forward this text. I was like trying to do it yesterday.
Rebooting the brain. Well, Apple is taking a serious look at getting into healthcare. CNBC says the company came very close to buying a medical clinic startup recently. Analysts say it could be a logical move for Apple, whose Apple Watch allows doctors to monitor a patient's health. Health updates.
Yeah, Corey. I don't even know what to do with him anymore.
He doesn't know this. I don't even think he knows this happens. I didn't tell him.
I doubt it. Yeah, that's why I kind of want to just drop it on him during his show today. Be like, Angie, play this during his show.
Yeah, my
just
God.
play it as a rejoin.
Words. Then
they're smart.
Well, he always does it. He does his editorial, and then he plays it on the air, I think on like Tuesdays and Thursdays or something like that.
Right.
Recruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/expand. That's ZipRecruiter.com/expand.
Netflix is set to spend $8 billion on original shows. We get more on the story from Lisa Lee.
With its subscriber base growing and revenues up, Netflix is ready to spend a lot of money on original content in 2018. The announcement came after Netflix posted its quarterly earnings on Monday. The streaming and DVD service added 5.3 million subscribers and increased their earnings by almost $3 billion. Netflix hopes to ramp up its original content to 30% of their offerings after rival Hulu announced they would stream movies and TV shows from their parent companies like Disney, 21st Century Fox, Comcast, and Time Warner.
Look at you.
All right, we got a minute and a half, and we got Aaron Nigler.
Cool. What's that?
End of next year,
okay.
Netflix hopes to have 80 original movies released. I'm Lisa Lee.
Senators are getting increasingly concerned about data security at credit bureaus.
As a recent breach demonstrates, enhanced cybersecurity measures at companies like Equifax might work perfectly, yet still do little to protect consumers' data.
That's Ohio Democrat Sherrod Brown in a hearing. He said companies like Equifax collect vast troves of personal information. Equifax recently acknowledged that the personal information of roughly 145 million people may have been compromised
Graph's voice.
in a massive cybersecurity.
I was trying to needle him in it. And then about Tulane.
He didn't think they have a chance.
I know.
Security of personal data and
even if they would have won,
consumers.
It's sapped
Apple is taking a serious look.
The loss really
According
took
to
it out of
CNBC,
them.
the tech company came very close to recently buying medical clinic startup Crossover Health. Crossover highlights its digital features such as mobile apps that allow people to make same-day appointments.
We're going to Aaron.
Tech industry analysts
right
say
away.
it could be a logical move for the company whose Apple Watch has features that allow doctors to monitor a...
All right, 5 seconds.
Business News, Ted Asregadu, NBC News Radio.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 on a Wednesday, October 18th. If you missed the first hour, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. And pleased to be joined by Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com. And I'm sure there's a small storyline surrounding the Saints-Packers game. Maybe we'll see what Aaron Jones has to do. Maybe we'll see if Randall Cobb can bounce back. Oh, no, it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, of course, is the giant storyline surrounding this game. He won't be playing, and Aaron, I know you've seen this happen before with Aaron Rodgers, and what did they go 8-7-1 in that season when Aaron Rodgers had the shoulder injury?
That was it.
Yes, and so it's not like they can't survive without him, but you can't overstate the significance of the loss of Aaron Rodgers.
No, you can't. Obviously this is a team, especially on the offensive side, that was built completely around his abilities which made him one of, if not the, arguably best player in the NFL. And now you have guys like Mike McCarthy, Alex Van Pelt, the quarterback's coach. They're going to have to prove they're going to merit their medal, so to speak. They have to retool this offense and get it ready for Sunday to face the Saints to start. You mentioned, the last time this happened in 2013, they had a bit of a, kind of, I guess, happenstance, bad luck as far as they had Seneca Wallace as the backup. He had his first start. He lasted all of 2 drives before he was injured. And then they had Scott Tolzien, and it was, okay, we're going to build around Scott Tolzien, and then he got injured. And then they brought in Matt Flynn, and that's what kind of enabled them to stay afloat. It helped that the rest of the division kind of fell apart down the stretch. This has absolutely thrown the NFC North into wide-open contention. And I think Mike McCarthy I don't think he'd ever admit this, but I think he kind of relishes the challenge. I don't think anybody has, any kind of illusions that this team has now been taken out of Super Bowl contention. But, Mike McCarthy is one of the most competitive individuals you will ever meet. He is certainly chomping at the bit to prove everyone wrong, like myself, saying that, the season's over. Without Aaron Rodgers, there's not much. They're not going to go very far, etc. Well, I have little doubt that Mike McCarthy is chomping at the bit to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, Aaron, I got to know Mike when he was offensive coordinator here under Jim Haslett, and you are spot on. I mean, I guarantee you he's relishing this opportunity. He fancies himself and is well-respected as a kind of a quarterback's coach, a guy that can develop and groom these guys. And I know they're very high on Brett Hundley. We've seen him perform well in the preseason. So what are Saints fans that haven't seen Brett Hundley play, what are they going to get to see on Sunday from this kid?
Well, it's funny because obviously he's been there for 3 years now, and he's kind of caught on to some of the little things that Aaron does as far as the cadence. He did a great job during camp and preseason of using cadence to get guys to jump off sides, much like we've seen Aaron Rodgers do over the last few years. And he's actually got the same kind of tendency as Aaron to hold the ball a little bit longer than you maybe would like, looking for a play downfield. He's kind of like trained himself to stay in the pocket. I think he could probably use his athletic ability a little more, much like Aaron Rodgers does, getting outside the pocket. But he's actually been more productive when he's stayed put. It's funny because he's a capable runner, but when he does break contain, he doesn't make the plays that Aaron Rodgers makes. Now that's not to throw shade on the guy when there are very few quarterbacks who can make the plays that Aaron Rodgers makes. But from the pocket, he's actually done a really good job of keeping his eyes downfield, not looking at the rush, which obviously will serve him well. With this Saints team coming to town, they are playing outstanding on the defensive side of the ball, and you got to think Cam Jordan and company, they'll be coming for him.
Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com joining us right here on Duncan Holder, Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan here with you. And you look at outside of the quarterback situation, at running back, it seems like it's just plug and play. Ty Montgomery goes down, and then all of a sudden you've got Aaron Jones come in, and it's amazing how the Packers have kind of patchwork their running game and has gotten it going. How much do you think they're going to lean on that aspect going forward, given they don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore?
Yeah, I think there's no question that they absolutely have to. They have to kind of lean that way. What will be interesting to see is what kind of split they have, because Montgomery came back in that game against the Vikings after missing the previous week down in Dallas. And as most people saw, Aaron Jones had a very good game against the Cowboys. And then they kind of split carries, though Jones did get more at the end of the day. But I tend to think they've got to ride Aaron Jones even a little bit more. Montgomery is a talent. He's definitely, he offers a lot in the passing game. But as a pure runner, I don't think there's any question that Aaron Jones is the better back. And I think with the first-time starter in Hundley against a good pass rush, they've got to lean on him quite a little bit on Sunday. Now, I say that, but I also reference you back to what we were just talking about with Mike McCarthy. Mike is a pass-first guy. It's in his blood, always has been, and it wouldn't be surprising to me to see them take to the air early and often.
Well, Aaron, one of the guys that's going to be key for that offense is that up on that offensive line, and a guy that Saints fans are quite familiar with, Jari Evans, playing in his first season in Green Bay after a stellar career here. How's he played so far this season? I mean, he's an interesting guy because the Saints kind of gave up on him a couple of years ago, and then he went out to Seattle and got cut. Then he came back here a year ago, and he actually played pretty well. And I was kind of surprised that they didn't bring him back. How's he played so far for the Pack?
Yeah, he's been an excellent addition. It's funny because they let T.J. Lang walk, and fans were very up in arms about it. Understandably so. You got to protect the franchise, etc. But Evans has stepped in, and they signed him the day before the draft, maybe 2 days before the draft, back in April. For a one-year deal, and he has come in and completely solidified that right guard spot. And I don't think he's played maybe to the level of T.J. Lang, but there are a few guards in the NFL that can. But he has absolutely kind of been plugged in, and they have kind of set it and forget it. He's been great in the run game, great pass pro. There are one or two times where you've seen kind of a miscommunication. The most recent was down in Dallas. There was a slide protection that he missed, and Corey Linsley let him know it. But outside of that, for the most part, he's been excellent, and he's been a great addition to the locker room too. Really, a great, steady veteran presence. Guys really have taken to him. So, I mean, people talk about Ted Thompson and how he doesn't dabble in free agency, but when he does, he usually hits, and that he absolutely has with Evans.
Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Aaron, let's go to the other side of the football. It seems like the Packers can have a good week, and then they can have a sluggish week on defense. 9-34, 24-14, 31-23. Those are the points they've given up each game. Just the overall landscape. We know Clay Matthews. We know the Packers brought back Nick Perry, and because all the pass rushers, and we were monitoring that market. Nick Perry got paid because they dried up, and so the Packers had to bring him back. But just kind of the overall landscape, how's this defense performing, the pluses and the minuses of that unit?
Yeah, the front seven is actually really solid, and they've played well up front. It's the secondary, which is a major, major problem. And some of it has to do with injury. I mean, you can't use it as an excuse, but it is part of reality. And the reality is they have been absolutely decimated back there. They went into that Minnesota game with 3 starters down. They lost a few more along the way. So the last 2 weeks, they have entered into the fourth quarter with backup safeties having to play outside corner. That's just a hard way to operate in the NFL. And if they can ever get some kind of stretch of health back there, I think they'll be much better because Kevin King, their first draft choice this season, has played very well and is by far and away already their best cover corner, which tells you where they were coming from. But he's played very well. Morgan Burnett has played very well. And like I said, if they can get healthy, they can be a respectable unit. The problem is they've had to play so many guys out of position. They've had to play guys they probably wouldn't play if everyone was healthy, like Josh Hawkins, who absolutely was pretty abysmal against the Vikings last Sunday. If they can get their frontline guys and keep them healthy, they should be okay. But we won't even begin to kind of get a sense of what that might look like until later today when they release their first injury report.
Aaron, I want to, real quick before we let you go, ask you about a guy that's not going to be on the radar screen Sunday at all, but he might be part of the Saints' future. Taysom Hill, their third-string quarterback, is a guy I know the Saints are very high on. They signed him away after the Packers released him. What kind of camp did he have for them, and did you see some potential there? Because the Saints coaches I've talked to really think they've got a gem in Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing was, the problem in college for him, he's a very old rookie, was that he was injured so often. You know, it's hard for him to get any kind of stretch of tape or guys to look at because of the injuries. But in camp, you know, he came in with very, very long odds of even kind of making a name, even surviving. But, you know, he did something pretty much every time he touched the ball. He got an opportunity there in the first preseason game, really ran with it, literally. He made a lot of plays with his legs in a 2-minute drive. That earned him more playing time that next week. He made more plays until the third week. He was getting almost a quarter and a half, almost a half of football, which is pretty impressive for a guy who was kind of an afterthought at the start of camp. He was leading the team. You know, now obviously a lot of the plays he made were against third and fourth stringers, so there is that caveat. But in a league that is starved for talent at the quarterback spot, he's very intriguing, and he has a pretty decent ceiling.
Aaron Nagler, PackersNews.com. Check out all of his great work over there. Hey, Aaron, appreciate the time. And I promise you I will meet my self-induced 1:30 deadline to get those questions answered. Otherwise, you will strike me down on Twitter. I know it.
Very good.
Aaron, appreciate it, buddy.
Aaron.
Thanks.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Thanks for the insight.
Guys.
You got it. Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com.
He's really good, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's a stud.
Knows that team. The Packers have great beat coverage. I mean,
absolutely.
All over the place. I mean, almost every small paper, big paper, they're so intense on covering the Packers.
Well, they're an institution.
That's true, yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't want to say totally it's like the way people follow the Saints, but it's more of a college atmosphere with the Saints and more of like a college atmosphere with the Packers, because both communities just gravitate to those teams.
I agree 100%. The only other team I can think of that has this intensive coverage as we have here and in Green Bay is New England, but New England feels more like a pro town. It just feels different. You're right.
Well, that's because they've got 5 teams, and it's
right.
Yeah,
but
it's
you know what I mean.
like
It does feel different. The coverage is a little more critical. It's that northeastern corridor kind of media coverage, whereas you go up to Green Bay, it's collegial almost in a lot of ways. And you're right, the community, everything revolves around the Packers. And, man, the coverage up there has always been good. Those guys always are on top of it. And it's always fun going up. I'm looking forward to it.
There you go. So thanks, Aaron Nagler from PackersNews.com. When we get back, why don't we hear from Manti Te'o and Alex Okafor? And I talked with them about the Saints and how productive they've been on the blitz. Look, I've got a column up on NOLA.com this morning, and it's in print in the Times-Picayune, just how well they've done the past 3 weeks. And they better just keep blitzing the hell out of everyone because it's been productive. But it's not just that they blitz. It's a collaborative effort, and that's why it's working more than it has been even in the first 2 weeks of the season. So we'll go through that. And we got time. No more guests. We'll take your phone calls. I know we had a couple of callers on hold called in earlier in the show, and we will take your phone calls. 504-260-1280. Also, I want to touch on some LSU notes, not just football notes, but basketball, baseball. We got some LSU notes we can catch up with later on in the show, so we'll do that here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Duncan Holder. Cruising down the street, real slow, yelling Marrero.
Great food and the music of Tanya Boyd.
Holla! You are. You're a rapper. I'm the DJ. You're the rapper.
On the river, November 11th.
All right, I'll be Will Smith. You can be lowly DJ, Jazzy Jeff. You can make a cameo on my TV show.
That's what they call me on Tiger Droppings.
Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah. I'm not Sir Jeff.
I don't have a nickname. They just curse at me. So curse about me. They curse it about both of us all the time.
That's good. We're relevant. You just don't want to be irrelevant, right?
Those who sign
Worst
up
thing
will
in the
need a
world.
physical security card to sign in. And will not
that was a good piece you did. I just kind of read through it while you were on the air.
Oh, my column?
Yeah, about the blitz and stuff. That's interesting.
Celebrity or political figure to enroll.
To me, it's
more customers in the U.S. are buying the iPhone 7 than the iPhone 8.
It's been the key to their defense because they're not getting burned on the back end.
That's totally.
You know they're going to do that to Hundley. I guarantee they're going to throw stuff
do that
at him.
to everyone. They can't afford not to.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what they've got to do.
Fans the finger. The app is rolling out a new set of augmented reality world lenses that allows fans watching NBA games live in the arena to snap dancing 3D foam.
Not that bad.
We have no idea. Call it the foam finger decked out
terrible,
in the
but
home
it's
team's gear.
First comment I'm reading out was the latest comment. Now that's a great article, Holder.
Howdy,
Give me
folks.
more of
Representative
that
Nancy
and less
here
of
with
your
some
other
real news.
stuff.
My delicious, world-famous original recipe fried chicken is available at a KFC near you. It has been and will be until the end of
You know
time.
something, did you tell
no
me
matter
that,
what's happening in the world, you can trust that my
tell me
original recipe
that,
chicken is always made with 11 herbs and spices. Many unnamed sources agree. It's delicious. Get it in a KFC $10 chicken share and enjoy it with a friend. KFC, it's still finger-licking good. Limited time offer. Participating KFCs. Prices may vary. Tax and substitutions extra.
I knew I had they're like phasing her
I
out.
tried counting calories, eating and eating.
Nobody else could possibly understand.
I saw she's doing like a lot of other stuff.
We're Overeaters Anonymous.
She's definitely doing Pelicans.
Thousands of people
Never
stop
on
their
these
compulsive
broadcasts.
eating and start living a healthy,
They have all these.
rewarding
They have
life.
like guys on there now. A lot of guys. Like
living again.
she's a
and
former New
loving
Orleans
Start
TV.
living the life you deserve.
Yeah.
She did a Saints game. She did Saints
Tasker. I didn't know Steve Tasker was doing.
Running low on the stuff you need.
Yeah, it's
time for a
CBS.
Target run.
And then
we're here for all the big moments and the little
Adam
ones
Archuleta's
too.
calling
Like
games.
comfort food for falling temps.
Yeah.
Warm up
Evan
with Campbell's
Washburn.
soup for $1.25.
CBS. Yeah,
Or
I don't
how
keep
about
up with
tailgating?
a lot of the CBS guys.
Bleak
Yep.
Dixie
Okay.
and Bounty paper plates
Because,
and napkins are just $2.99.
We don't. I mean, they're AFC.
Plus, we've lowered prices on hundreds of Market Pantry and up items like baking
Peter
essentials,
Schrager.
vitamins,
Yeah.
and more.
Punk
Target
stood
run
us up.
and done.
Yeah.
Pricing may vary. Restrictions may apply.
I took a walk to the Melphamine.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
I headed straight to that Alphaville. I stopped pausing at St.
Boy, I'm wobbling Wednesday, and Jeff's looking at me like I've got a third eye.
An alien. I'm sitting next to an alien.
Come on, man, get with it.
That is. It sounds like they're calling out the some of the old housing projects.
Of course, come
I'm down
on.
with them.
You were losing what street cred you had, Jeff.
You had so much going into this week. I mean, you were literally campaigning about filling potholes, and now you're losing voters.
Oh, you're right.
You're
Not
losing
the people, apparently.
Exactly. You're losing. And that's why I need to be that part of your campaign manager.
Who is this? Who'd we just listen to?
I don't know.
Dave?
Did you believe?
I should have known better. What's the matter with me? I have no street cred, so I can lose as much as I want, even though I know the song. But oh boy! But you know who's gaining some street cred? The New Orleans Saints defense, and rightfully so. And you look at what they've been doing the past few weeks, and every week in my first and 10 column, I chart the plays. And it's called the blitz report, as far as when the team sends a blitz in a passing situation. So I don't count when, okay, they might be blitzing and they run the ball. I just forget it. I don't monitor that. So it has to be a drop back pass. And I don't count when there's a penalty and there's no play and the play doesn't count. I just kind of throw that play out.
Do you count when they don't blitz? Or are you just counting strictly the blitzes?
I just go through and chart what happens when they blitz
Okay.
in a passing situation. And look, the first 2 weeks, Sam Bradford and Tom Brady scorched them in the blitz. It was laughable. I even put that in my column. It was they couldn't get the coverage right. They were missing the gaps where they should be going through, and it was just nothing worked. And all of a sudden, you could probably point your finger at a couple of aspects. Week 3 comes, and they get it right. And it's not just they got it right in week 3. They got it right in week 4. They got it right last week. And you can, if you want to make some excuses and try to poo-poo on it, I guess you can. And if there would be anyone in this city who would actually delegitimize their blitzing prowess, it would be you, Jeff, and me.
Right.
And I'm not doing it because it's legit to me what they've been doing. All you got to do is look at the results. And again, this is me charting, and so it's maybe someone else might say, oh, they blitzed one more time or didn't consider one play a blitz, whatever. It doesn't change the results. I'll just go through the results of what the Saints have done against Tom Brady and Sam Bradford, and then what they've done against Cam Newton, Jay Cutler, and Matt Stafford. And all you got to do is look at it. Brady and Bradford had a combined 14 of 17, 221 yards, 1 touchdown, and that's a combined passer rating of 138.36. They only sacked those two quarterbacks a combined 1 time.
Wow.
Terrible. They were getting scorched. Fast forward 2 weeks, 3, 4, and 6. Newton, Cutler, and Matt Stafford. They went 24 of 47, 264 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 picks. 2 were pick sixes. Cam Newton had the 1 rush. He got 10 yards. But they had 7 sacks, 2 lost fumbles, 1 for a touchdown, and the combined passer rating of the 3 quarterbacks when the Saints blitzed, 35.55.
Impressive.
That's getting it done.
Yeah. And Peyton talked about the strategy against Stafford, and you alluded to it going into last week, how gimpy he was. And Peyton said, look, they noticed early on in the game that everything was coming out quick, 3-step drops, and they didn't want to have to move him around much. And so when they recognized that, and that was how Detroit was going to attack them, that's why they were getting all those batted balls. They realized it was coming out, 3-step drop, get your hands up, and that's just smart attention to detail by Dennis Allen and Sean Payton and that defensive staff.
Well, you saw some of those blitzes, say Kenny Vaccaro comes in and he's blitzing, but then he sees he's not going to get there in time, so he stops, puts his hands up, and bats down the pass.
Yep.
It was, and it's amazing the difference you see in 1 week to the next in their looks. Look, early on in the game, the Saints were showing 3-4 fronts. They had 3 down linemen, and you would have Alex Okafor standing up on one side and A.J. Klein standing up on the other side, and they would send that. The next play, you would have Von Bell coming from one side. You'd have Kenny Vaccaro coming from one side. Sometimes they'd have just 3 down linemen, and then they would shoot Von Bell in from the other side and cause some chaos. They're mixing and matching, and look, we've seen teams with the Saints blitz and be not effective. I feel like Dennis Allen, and here are the 4, I mentioned 4 keys, and I don't know if coaches actually say these 4 keys, but to me, when you watch a blitz, you need this. You need trust, technique, talent, and unpredictability. And I feel like the Saints coaching staff has the trust in the players. The players trust Dennis Allen. The technique has certainly gotten better as far as hitting the holes, timing it, all of that. Talent. You've seen a change in the back end when you've got Marshawn Lattimore playing and Ken Crawley. The back end has gotten more secure. There's no doubt about that, because the first 2 weeks you're playing Devontae Harris and all kinds of chaos, and they stunk. They couldn't. It's rush and cover. Kenny Vaccaro said that after the game. Rush and cover. It's as simple as that. If they can get a pass rush, it makes it easier for the Saints to cover. If they can cover longer, it makes it easier for the pass rush to get to the quarterback.
But he's pushed all the right buttons. Remember early in the year they were playing just 2 safeties, kind of a traditional 4-3. He's moved that around a lot. Now they've gone to the 3 safeties a lot. I think he's just trying to get the best 11 defenders on the field. They only have 2 linebackers out there a lot of the time. And you're right, he's bringing blitzes with safeties. He's not afraid to send a corner on one of those blitz corner fires. And Lattimore is just playing lights out. I mean, right now you could make an argument that Lattimore and Cam Jordan and maybe even Vaccaro, the way Sean Payton talked about him on the conference call today, those guys are playing Pro Bowl level. They've got 3 guys playing lights out, and that hasn't happened in a long time with this defense.
I'm going to say when the last time it probably happened, and people don't want to hear it because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm jumping to conclusions.
Oh, don't tell me. You're not going there.
I'm not going to do it, though.
You were going to go there.
I was going to go there.
I could see you.
You can see in my eyes, the glimmer in my eyes. He's literally waving a flag.
Cheerleader pulled back.
But I pulled back.
I just told people on the YouTube feed, I think I'm going to pick Green Bay this week, though. It seems like the perfect recipe for a Saints loss. I can't help it. As I just mentioned to Val on YouTube, I haven't picked against the Saints since the opener, and I picked them to lose a very close game. Then I picked them to win every week. So I've been kind of on their bandwagon, but I just got a bad feeling about this game. I don't know why.
Don't you know, every win they get, the closer I come to having no hair.
I know. Trust me.
Realize that?
We've discussed that. That's going to be an epic performance by you.
So you're assuming that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to try and get Joni there. We got to somehow get Joni to show up for that.
She might be the one with the shears, for all I know. And then she'll scoop it up and glue it onto my head the next day.
Maybe
when
get
I have to shave my
Brady
head.
to have a matching, get your boys to have matching haircuts.
Brady hated haircuts. So this is my 6-year-old son. Brady hated haircuts so much as a kid, and he kicked and screamed and went nuts that one time we just shaved his head because it was the easiest thing to do.
Nice.
He was not his best.
He didn't
look.
like that?
It was not good. It was not his best look.
Yeah, the shaved look, man. Certain guys look good with it, certain ones don't.
There's a reason why I have natural Bama bangs.
Yeah,
I've got frat boy hair till I die. I've got to.
That's a good quality to have. I'm just about lost all mine. I'm thinking about going like the Matt Barrows look. What if I just showed up one day?
Matt Barrows, who covers the Niners for the Sacramento Bee, shaves his head. People say he looks like Michael Stipe.
That's that's not bad, but he's kind of a mini-me Michael Stipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt might be the smallest reporter in the NFL. Hey. He's very good, though.
You tower over him,
I know,
Jeffrey.
I do.
You tower over him.
And look, Lions Yellen went with the bald look there for a while and then came back with the hair. I thought he was bald the whole time.
People thought Lions Yellen had fake hair.
What?
They
like
thought
it was a hair restoration or something?
Yes, like it was a toupee, like he really couldn't grow hair.
We don't have any. Do we have any bald Saints right now? I was trying to think the other day. There was a period of time when like Shanley was playing. There were a lot of bald guys on the team.
I think Chris Banjo's got the bald look.
Not too many.
Oh, Kobe Fleener.
Oh yeah, Kobe Fleener went bald.
He had massive amount of hair and then just said,
"Yeah,
I'm going to shave it off."
Complete opposite.
Well, Kobe Fleener actually hadn't played too badly since he shaved the head.
What would Breeze look like bald?
I think we're going to know the answer soon.
Oh, my gosh.
I just went there.
Blasphemy.
What do you want me to do?
It's the truth.
What do you want me to do?
I look back at those early Saints teams, and Breeze had that remember he had that long hair look? He changed his hair for a lot.
Well, sometimes you got to try to change your look.
You're getting ready to, against your will.
I'm getting ready to. We'll see. Well, if the defense keeps playing the way it does, I am going to do that. So I teased it, and of course we blew it. So we'll come back and hear from Manti Te'o and Alex Okafor. And if you want to get involved in the conversation, you can. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved here on Sports 1280. NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder. I can't believe I said that on the air. People thought Lions had fake hair.
It was weird.
Oh, boy.
I didn't know that he wasn't bald. I thought he just had lost his hair or something.
This
All of a
report
sudden,
is brought to you by the French Market District.
Another stellar day with
sort of like,
blue sky and sunshine temperatures.
Metamorphosis
Quite comfortable, but we are going to start to see them ticking up just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Expect to see highs this afternoon in the mid to upper 70s for most locations. Going into the overnight, we're not going to drop down quite as much, but still cool and comfortable compared to last week with temperatures in the 50s and low 60s through most of the area. For Fox 8, your weather authority,
I don't know.
I'm meteorologist Nakanta Norwood.
Why would he do that? You walk into the salon
in the French Market District every Wednesday
like in the
from
70s,
1 to 5 p.m.
I think if I tried to perm, it wouldn't stay because my hair just gets go back
overpower it.
Yeah.
Overpower
the Bama bangs will swoosh through.
Whenever I think of that,
man, I am gonna have to shave my head because they're gonna win 10 games.
They are.
ALCS in the Bronx last night.
They'll be good. We'll get some kind of
best of 7 championship
At least
series.
I better get free drinks at
our
our bar.
We'll go maybe go to
today in New York. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are win away from their
or we can go to like that barber shop on Bourbon Street.
After topping the
they got the Spirits of Bourbon. It was like the bar rescue bar. They put a
bar sweep tonight.
Barber's chair.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah,
you take a shot in the barber's chair.
It's still there. though?
I've never been there
because they did the one on Maple.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I had the cigarette machine in there.
Oh, okay.
Remember they did the one on Maple?
Yeah, they tried to change TJ's.
And it changed for a while and then went back.
Head coach Brad Stevens.
Dude, that thing's a fraud.
I used to go to TJ's
102.99.
16.
With
that's the bar you went to.
10
We got 8 people in on one ID. The bouncer just laughed by the 7th one and just go on in. I would go there. I was at Rummel. It'd be a Thursday night school night. I'd go there and my mom would just be like, just make sure you make it to school the next day.
Damn, what an awesome mom.
Yeah, she was pretty cool.
Did you see the video McCash had the other day on the shot-drinking dog at Snake and Jake's?
Oh, no.
Dog that drinks. Well, he doesn't drink. He does dog food to his shot glass.
My mom better not be listening to the YouTube feed because she just texted me. Keep the shaved head to a minimum in the family, please.
I love it.
Hopefully she didn't just hear that she was a cool mom, even though society might not think she's that cool. Whatever. That's New Orleans. That's how we do it. That's Wobble Wobble Wednesday days. Late 90s. Listen to UNLV in our car.
The bar that I bought, Spider's Web, I used to go there in my Brother Martin uniform with my damn name tag on, get a beer.
Oh, I got a great story about it.
Where is that at?
I got a great story.
It was on Elysian Fields and Fillmore.
Cole's home sale is
I walked up. Broad daylight. I walked up to a daiquiri shop in my Rummel uniform at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and bought 2 gallons of daiquiris and just walked away, like in broad daylight. I didn't drive through it. I got out of my car and walked up to the booth.
Nobody cared. Yeah,
I love it.
Right now at Cole's. Select styles. Offer valid October 12th.
Those were the days.
Some exclusions.
You know what I forgot to do?
Store Coles.com for details.
Oh,
that's screwed up. One day in. I got time.
Whether you bless those boys or take flight, we're talking your teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Pole dancer Jeff Duncan vowed to do a poll every day.
I'm doing one.
We are an hour and 38 minutes into the show, and you have no poll.
Will the Pelicans win tonight? That's a good poll.
Wow. That's a groundbreaking scientific poll.
You're already breaking campaign promises.
They're already doing it.
I'm not broken it. I'm fulfilling it. I'm keeping my word to the American people.
Now he's filling up the poll, the potholes with jelly beans. That's going to be his route.
Pothole platform.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm riding it all the way.
Good luck, Jeff. Well, there's no good segue. Saints defenders Alex Okafor and Manti Te'o. I had a chance to catch up with both of those guys in the locker room on Monday to discuss how well they're blitzing teams and what makes it work. Let's start with which one do you want to start with? Both are about 2 minutes long. You make it.
Te'o. Let's do Te'o.
All right. Let's start with Manti Te'o. What he had to say about just how well the Saints are blitzing and if they can keep this thing going.
What's been the key to you guys dialing up the blitz so successfully? Because it's increased the past 3 weeks, and obviously you're able to affect Cam, you're able to affect Cutler, and certainly Matt Stafford. What's kind of the success with that?
Everybody doing their job. Everybody, the secondary covering really well. Us getting to the quarterback because the secondary is covering, and then you start to hopefully rattle some quarterbacks. And DA, switching up things and trying to keep everybody on their toes. So, we're just all executing out there.
As far as when to dial it up, I mean, it seems like there's situations where you guys are up big and you're still dialing them up, or it's tight and you're still dialing them up. Is it just kind of a feel thing you feel like that?
I think it's all the trust with the coaches and the players. The coaches trust us that we're going to, whatever they call is going to work, and we trust them. Because of the success we've had, so it's a trust factor there, and I think we're continuing to grow that trust and continuing to go out there and make plays. It's not perfect all the time, but we understand it's the NFL, and other teams are going to make their plays, but we come out there and we execute and we play together, good things happen.
You kind of appreciate, even though it's like one might go against you, that they keep dialing it up, and you've been more successful than not.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, like I said, it's the NFL. We understand that they're pros too. You know, when I say they, I mean the other team.
Sure.
So we know that they're gonna make their plays, but as long as we stay calm and we stay composed, and we always think of next play. We should be in good. Condition.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Manti's even been involved in that because sometimes, like we said, look, in the NFL these days, you're playing a lot of two linebacker looks just because so many teams pass the football, and even Manti's gotten in there and done some blitzing, and it's something that they just use who's out there, find a way to make a blitz, and they have more often than not. They've executed. And Jeff, and I mentioned it sometimes, and Manti mentioned it too, sometimes they fail. I mean, that's the risk-reward with the blitz. And you look at when it didn't help them, Marvin Jones made that great one-handed touchdown catch. But after that, I think Stafford might have went 2 of 11 the rest of the game. So they did not fear that they would screw up. They kept going with it, and that's on Dennis Allen. That's on the players making it happen. And it's, like I said, it's not a one-week thing. Just the same thing. It's not a one-week thing with the defense. This defense is getting better. They're improving, and it's amazing how quickly it's transformed from, say, the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think Te'o, Klein, Craig Robertson, they got some savvy vets at linebacker. These guys aren't blowing assignments. We talked about that during the preseason. How, look, these guys aren't – there's no Luke Kuechly in there, but they got a lot of very solid players that aren't blowing assignments. And that's the other thing that stood out the last few weeks is there's no guys running wide open for the most part. I know they gave up a big play against Detroit, a couple big plays, but for the most part, they're pretty assignment sound. And I think Allen is feeling more and more comfortable dialing up these blitzes because he's not worried about gashes on the back end, guys being blowing communication, blowing an assignment. And I think that's the first time he's felt that way in a while with this defense.
I'm going to say it's the first time he's felt that way ever.
Yeah, I think so too.
And he was part of that unmentioned team that I don't want to compare them to because you're going to throw coffee at me if I mention that they might look sort of like the 2009.
Oh my gosh!
See,
you went there.
You couldn't help it. He just threw coffee in my face.
2009. I've compared this team to 2006. I think they're more comparable.
I'm just saying the defense because, as of right now, I'm not saying they're going to be that way the whole season, but they have a bunch of guys who knew what was going on, where to be, no blown assignments, creating turnovers. It's got that feel. I'm not going to say that they are that team, but
they're going to win the Super Bowl. You predicted it. I'm going there.
If they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to have to shave my whole body.
Oh, gosh.
We don't want to be there for that. We don't want to be there for that. Dave, I just went there on Wobble Wobble Wednesday. Oh, boy.
It's a PG program here. We can't go there.
We can't
go to that X-rated.
We can't go R-rated at least?
But see, I do agree with you. They're much more aggressive and opportunistic than they have been in recent years. I mean, they're producing all kinds of turnovers, sacks. That is more reminiscent of 2009. This team just reminds me overall of 2006 in that they're not that dynamic on offense. I know they rang up a lot of points, but that was a lot of defensive touchdowns. The offense is a little more balanced, like 2006, kind of more ground-oriented. They got these good backs like they had with Deuce and Reggie. And, they're smart and they don't beat themselves. They remind me a lot of that gritty team in 2006. I don't know if this team could even get deep into the playoffs, but I think they can get in the playoffs. And who knows what happens then.
Well, that's like in 2006 and 2009. We didn't know what they could do in the playoffs. We didn't know that they would actually be a good team for a while. And obviously both seasons you started off hot. The Saints didn't start off hot, so your expectations aren't going to be as high. Now, if they get on a roll, you could maybe get on the bandwagon. And even 11, they didn't start off super hot. They went 5-3 the first 8 games, and then started trucking people after that. But let's hear what Alex Okafor had to say about blitzing and how successful they've been. I had a chance to catch up with him, and so let's hear good old Larry and Alex rap about blitzing.
The key to being so successful, specifically the past 3 weeks on when you guys send blitz, and it seems like, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 6, it's coming from all different directions. What's kind of been the key to making that so successful the past 3 games?
You just got to be detailed with the blitz plan, man. Every little detail is what makes certain blitzes great, whether it's the disguise from the beginning of the look or everybody hitting their gap in the correct rush lane, but everybody, being on the same page, because if there's one rush lane, one hole that's open, it'll ruin the whole play.
And as far as, you guys are equal opportunity blitzers. You do it when it's tight, you do it when you're up big, you do. What's kind of been the key of when it's dialed up and making it work?
It's just a mentality, man. We've started to create a mentality when we hear a blitz called that, this is our chance to pin our ears back and really get after it. And I think everybody has adopted that mentality on certain plays, and it's shown.
Do you feel like, there's kind of like an exotic blitz we haven't seen yet? Because it seems like you guys have kind of sent the house, safety, corner, whatever. I mean, anything still up the sleeve that we haven't seen yet?
You'd have to ask DA.
You don't want to call one where you're like,
if it was up to me,
you guys would be doing it every play.
If it was up to me, I'd be blitzing every single play. But DA, he's a mastermind behind it all. So
good deal. All right.
Absolutely, and it's one thing to where you dial it up and it doesn't work, and you just keep banging your head against the wall. And I feel like you saw that a lot last year when Dennis Allen completely got his hands on the defense. He knew that he didn't have all these dynamic pass rushers, and it's not like the Saints have multiple dynamic pass rushers. Cam Jordan, again, hot take of the day. I said he's the best overall defensive end in the NFL. I'm not saying he's the best pass rusher in the NFL. He's very good at it, but overall, you don't have these Von Millers and Lawrence Taylors or whatever. So,
right.
But they're able to get it done because the pieces fit. They know where to fit, and he's dialing them up. And he's got a great feel of when to call them, and it's more often than not now he's calling them.
Yeah, Dennis Allen is getting it done. I mean, there were a lot of criticism of him. I never felt like it was Dennis Allen's fault. I mean, Dennis Allen knows what he's doing. He's very well respected in the league, and I think he's finally kind of got the pieces personnel-wise to run his defense. I mean, it's very similar to what Greg Williams did. And he'll never come out and say he's a Greg Williams disciple, but that's what they're doing. Sending guys from all over, putting the best 11 on the field.
He better not say that. Sean will fire him.
Right, he might get fired.
He'll start tipping picks to you, and then it'll be the last straw, and he'll get him fired.
I think Sean Payton has found the perfect defensive coordinator for him in Dennis Allen because he's got the Greg Williams philosophy without the Greg Williams personality that clashed with Sean. And Dennis Allen is very much a guy that doesn't demand the spotlight. You try to talk to him and get some credit from him, he'll never take credit, unlike Greg Williams. Dennis Allen will always deflect it to his players, and I think it's a perfect fit right now for what they're trying to do. And probably we should also credit Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis for overhauling the defensive staff in the offseason. These assistant coaches probably have a lot to do with why they're playing so much better.
So you basically just gave the fan base gasoline to throw on Joe Vitt. Good job.
It's not just Joe Vitt. I think the overall of the defense. I mean, I think Aaron Glenn's doing a good job in the secondary. He doesn't get enough credit. All these new defensive assistant coaches that no one's talking about, they're getting it done.
Ryan Nielsen, Mike Nolan are getting it done.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I mean, you got a whole new staff over there for the most part. All these communication issues, they ironed them out really quickly. And right now, this defense is playing with confidence and swagger.
Let's take one final break here on Dunc and Holder. Great show, great conversation. And we will try to flush it down the toilet in the final segment. What do you say? Let's talk LSU. Some very high notes. LSU basketball is looking up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're looking up at everyone else in the SEC. Everyone.
I have a Twitter poll, too, some results that we can get to.
I didn't even know you made it.
Poll daddy.
It was so interesting, I did not even retweet it.
Poll dancer.
There we go. Jeff Duncan, pole dancer. here on Dunc and Holder, Sports 1280 NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app.
I switched gears. I went, how many games will the Pelicans win this season? 4 options.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the LSU. Finished last in the SEC.
I saw that.
Dead last.
That seems out of line. Hey, that bad?
14th. They're picked to finish 14th.
I think usually last is bad.
Well, they only went 10-21 last year and 2-16 in the SEC. So,
Need a payday loan?
well, all their good players don't get here till next year.
Apply online in minutes
They got all
on
this
your phone.
big-time
The league announced the draft's going to be in Dallas.
LendUp.com is the better payday loan with no hidden fees, and good credit is not required. Visit LendUp.com.
You know who's picked to win the SEC?
Credit Services Organization,
Kentucky.
not a direct lender in Ohio and Texas.
I don't know.
Subject
I don't want
to
to talk.
availability
I'm giving up on college sports.
LendUp.
That's because Pitino's fired.
They fired Jurich, didn't they?
Pitino's fired, and they're suing it. Now he's suing Adidas.
That's
and
not going to go anywhere.
And now Louisville football's a pile of mess.
With one click, post your
Lamar
job
Jackson's a fraud.
I can't believe they fired Tom
Their
Jurich.
smart technology
That's like
notifies them of
devastating.
qualified candidates
They're
to
going to
apply.
be.
No wonder
You know what they're going to be? They're going to be like. They're going to be like UConn or something. Remember how UConn was like great for a while?
The smartest way to hire.
They're going to go back to being just
at
Memphis or something.
1 minute.
At least they got women's basketball still at UConn. That's a revenue maker of UConn.
This is a great time of year to get out and take a walk. And while you're at it, why not walk for a great cause? The Walk to End Alzheimer's is November 11th at Baby Cakes Field. Register at alz.org/walk. And the next day, November 12th, the New Orleans Kidney Walk will be held at Audubon Park. Go to kidneywalk.org.
In the developing world, more than 400 children are born with a cleft lip and/or
10 seconds. All right, Jeffrey, this next song is for you, buddy.
Thank you, bud.
To learn more, visit smiletrain.org because a smile has
Don't thank me yet.
everything.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Do you know what you've done, Dave? You have brought back the Atlanta Falcons' glory years when they defeated the Saints in the playoffs way back when.
Oh, God, I'd forgotten about that.
Oh, you just torpedoed
Bad
this
karma.
show. Woo-hoo-hoo, you did it. You blew it. Back when Deion Sanders and MC Hammer were too legit to quit.
Wearing those
He
pants.
just stopped it. Record scratch. Exactly. You didn't know what you were doing.
What were those pants called? What were those crazy
Parachute pants.
Yes, parachute pants.
I just called them Hammer Pants. I just thought they were MC Hammer
Call them
Pants.
Jeff Duncan pants.
MC Hammer is my nickname for our sports editor, Marcus Carmouche.
Why is it not?
Well, Marcus Carmouche, a little acronym.
MC, yes, Hammer Time.
There you go. But like I said, the previous break we were going into LSU basketball, looking up at everyone else. The preseason media SEC rankings came out, and LSU is at the very bottom. There are 14 teams in the SEC that play basketball. LSU is at the bottom.
The hope, though, is eternal at LSU because they've got a great recruiting class coming in. One of the top recruiting classes in the last couple decades. So Will Wade's going to suffer through kind of a tough year this year, no doubt about it. But there's enthusiasm for LSU basketball again because they've got some of the top recruits in the country. And they're going to need to because the roster this year is depleted. Antonio Blakeney's gone. I mean, they're just – from 2 years ago and the excitement around Ben Simmons and Blakeney and that group. I remember covering that Kentucky game when they beat Kentucky on ESPN. They played Buddy Hield in Oklahoma down to the wire.
That was a great game, even though they lost. That was a great game. Yes.
And you went to LSU. I mean, when the PMAC gets rocking, it's awesome.
I went to LSU when they were starting to kind of turn basketball around. It was Stromile Swift and Jabari Smith were there, and John Brady got them to the Sweet 16. So I was there, and that place gets rolling. But the only way to have that atmosphere is to win regularly, and they just didn't win regularly. And that's like in Dale Brown's era, they won regularly, and so that's why LSU was so good, and there was so much interest. And now, that's the thing. You look at LSU being dead last in this poll. You gotta, as an LSU fan of anything, you gotta kind of chalk this thing up. If they are okay this year, you say, okay, that's great, because like you said, they should be good next year. Like there's no excuses, and it's not just one stud player. They're getting a few studs to actually build a team, rather than it's like, all right, let's see if Ben Simmons can drive this thing.
Yeah, and I tell you, Will Wade. I was talking to some of the regular beat reporters down in Baton Rouge at the LSU Auburn game on Saturday, and they were raving over Will Wade. I mean, just his attention to detail. They've been to some of his practices, his off-season workouts. Really positive things to say. We've got to get him on the program at some point, because I want to pick his brain about who he learned from. Because I don't think he has just a traditional mentor, but this could be early on positive signs. We haven't seen him on the court yet, but could be Joe Oliva's best hire as AD. I know that's not saying a whole lot, because he has a great track record right now. But Will Wade looks like something of finally a hit for Joe Oliva.
You just want to get Will Wade on to say, so, Coach Cal, was he a cheater? That's what you want to do.
I think we know the answer to that.
No, because he's not. Crystal clear.
I think the FBI probe, and I want to ask Troy Dannon about tomorrow when we have him on, just about how this is going to shake up all the college basketball and college sports. We saw Adam Silver come out, the NBA commissioner, on Monday, and say basically he wants to do away with the one-and-done thing sooner rather than later. They're not going to wait till 2024 and the new CBA. He wants it done soon, and I think this also dovetails with their development of the G League, trying to raise the profile of their developmental league to where basically they'll be competing with college basketball now. They're going to develop a farm system, much the way Major League Baseball has one, and try and raise the profile. Look, and if you're the Pelicans and you've got a G League team in Shreveport or Pensacola, wherever they end up, and you've got a guy like Ben Simmons playing for you, suddenly that's more exciting than what we've seen the last year or so.
No doubt about it. Great show today. If you missed it, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. You can check that out after we're done. Tomorrow's show, we'll have Neil McCready from RebelGrove.com, covers Ole Miss, longtime buddy of ours. Used to be at the Mobile Register, so we'll chat with him. As you just alluded to, Troy Dannon, Tulane Athletic Director, we'll have him on as well, and be college heavy tomorrow, as our Thursday shows typically are.
Seconds.
So, Jeff,
too legit to quit.
Good job.
We gotta quit. Dave
torpedoed the show with Falcons love. He's probably going to have to go cry in a corner. But great show as always. So come on back tomorrow here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder. See ya.
Which we approve, and y'all will realize that we are the move. So listen close.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that.
All right, guys.
All right, brother. See ya.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Yep.
She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no.
Yeah.
That's the exact opposite.
That was a good song.
I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving.
Where you house hunting?
It's over near where I live right now.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Zika is still a threat, and its effect on an unborn child can be devastating. To prevent Zika, use insect repellent and condoms and dump standing water.
Shoot.
Let's stop stopping Zika. Visit cdc.gov/prevent Zika. This message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280.
The old seahorse.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New